guys, thanks for stopping by. Today we are going to be doing some cute baby gifts. So I'm going to be showing you how to make tag blankies or loveys, whatever you want to call them, that are personalized with, these are actually with infusible ink. So great baby gift idea, or just for your own kids. My littlest loved his lovey. I think I had to make him like 6. He still has one of them, but he kept losing them, so we couldn't live without him. So perfect way to make a whole bunch of them. I made this one and this. I have directions over on my blog and how I did the Mickey Mouse part. But today here on YouTube, we are going to be learning how to make this one. So I will link the font I used below. This is actually a great beginner sewing project. I am not known for my sewing skills, so all you need to do is sew straight lines. That's it. So promise you, pretty easy. These, like I said, these are also would be great to sell if you have a Cricut craft business, things like that. So all you're going to need is some fabric. I got mine at my local Joann's store, so I am using, they're kind of called Minky or soft cuddly fabric. They are 100% polyester. That's why they work great with the infusible ink. So I found white and one with the pink, but they have them in tons of colors, you know, depending on boys and girls. These are ones I used for my sons, the green and the blue. But like I said, you can get them there, and you could probably get one strip. I am making mine 13 inches. So sometimes people make them 16, 17 inches, really depends on you. But you can have them cut 1/3 of a yard, and you could probably get almost 5 blankies out of when you have 2 fabrics. So, and I think it was like $5 for the one section, so $10 together, so it'd be like $2 a blanket or something. So great idea to use. And then you're just going to need ribbon. You don't have to do the tags. You could obviously do it without the tags, but babies tend to like colorful things and looking at the tags and grabbing on them. So then you're gonna need pins. And then I just went through my ribbon section. If you have a bunch of ribbons like I do, like I said, they don't need to match everything. I used 4 or 5 different colors, and then I ended up using 20, so 5 on each side, strips of 4 inches. So you can put more or less on, but I will show you how I did these. And then a Cricut for cutting the infusible ink, and obviously infusible ink. I am using this one, which is the Patterns Rainbow Watercolor Splash. I'll link that below for this color right in here. And then obviously a sewing machine and an easy press too. I'm using my large one, my 10 by 12 one. And then I also have this out. Super easy to kind of press the seams and do that. So let's get into design space and design these and make a couple cute Minky blankets. And these blankies actually go great with the Burst-Stat elephants that you can make using your Cricut. And this one I did iron on, but another great cute gift to add to the gift basket with the blankies. And I will link this tutorial below. I have it also on my YouTube channel. Okay, so I just wanted to show you real fast how to make this in Cricut Design Space. This is actually a font that comes already stacked, so I will link this particular one below that I used. Okay, and all I'm going to do is add text, and then add your name. And underneath the font up here, I'm going to come up and type in rainbow, just because I know that's the name of mine, and click on search, and you'll see it right here that it comes already stacked. So come in small, because let me zoom in a little bit here. Okay, so it comes in like this. I'm just going to use the double arrows and drag it bigger. So I'm making mine a little bit less than 8, just because that's the amount of infusible ink I have, but you can definitely make it bigger for the 12 or 13 inch size blanket that you're making. And I wanted to make mine more square, so I used the lock. So I clicked on it so it unlocked, and now you can use the 4 arrows and change the proportion of it. So I'm just going to make it so it's somewhat square. That's pretty close. I'm going to click on the lock again. And now when I size it bigger, I'm going to stop just a little bit before 8. So I'm probably going to do about, 7.5 or so. But you can do any size you want. Okay, so that's already ready to go. So now when I go to make it, I am using my Maker 3, so it asks this. I'm going to do on matte since we're doing infusible ink. And with infusible ink, you just want to make sure that this mirror setting is on. So I'm going to turn that on and hit continue, and then I'm going to select infusible ink transfer sheet as my material, and we're going to cut this out. Okay, so now I have it ready to cut. I have my mirror on here. I am going to browse, and I'm just going to type in infusible ink. Okay, set my infusible ink transfer sheet, click on done, and then I am using this sheet. And I try to put it on, not using my fingers too much, and just press it down well with my brayer. Okay, so my maker's already blinking, so I'm gonna put that up there. Press my load button. And now my arrow is flashing, so I'm going to press that and let it cut out. Okay, so it's all done, so I am going to unload my mat. So before I weed that, I am going to turn my Easy Press on. I am setting it at 385. And then I'm going to put this at 60 seconds. Okay, and we'll let that heat up. So I'm going to remove this from my mat. And then I'm just going to trim around this. And I got really lucky. That got really close to the edge there. Okay, so then I'm just going to bend the sheets a little bit so I can weed out. And I'm actually going to look at the screen while I do this so I know exactly what I'm peeling off. And then you got to grab a corner and start pulling the excess away with your fingers. Trying not to take those outside cuts with it. So that E is left in. Nope, I need that in. Okay, so I'm just going to keep pulling this off. You don't need to watch this whole thing, so I'll be back just a minute. Okay, so I have it all peeled off, just making sure. So it doesn't matter if there's still some of this white on there, as long as it doesn't have ink on it, it won't press anything. So I'm just gonna leave that. Okay, so I have this ready. So just to show you, I practice pressing on this white, the soft kind of minky fabric. And these were just a couple presses I did. This one was, I did 60 seconds, but I did 40 seconds, but I did a kind of a medium pressure. It did okay, but it actually made a big line up here. So then I tried to just put it for 60 seconds and then just not touching it. And it actually did pretty well. So this is the gray color. This is a black. So these were just a couple different ones I tried with all the different infusible inks, and they all worked great. So we will see how this goes. So I am going to, so I have this 13 by 13 that I had cut out and I already washed it. So I am going to lint roll it, and it's going to be a little bit weird because it kind of has that direction to it. Depending on which way you go with it. So I'm going to make it all one direction when we press it. I'm just going to preheat it for 5 seconds. And actually, I'm going to put butcher paper underneath it. So I'm going to put butcher paper underneath it, and then I'm going to put I'm really messy crafter. I'm going to put a few pieces on top of it to protect my Easy Press mat. And then I'm going to try to line this up. I'm actually going to fold this just to kind of see where the middle is. I'm going to fold this and just give it a little crease so I see where this middle is. Okay, so then I'm going to put butcher paper on top, and then I'm just going to place this on it and push the button. And I'm not going to put any pressure on it. Okay, and we'll lift that straight up. Move these off. And pull that off. Ooh, how'd I miss? What happened to my eye? Oh, shoot. I had pulled that off somewhere. Okay, I found my eye. I can't believe that happened. So I'm going to put that down and use some tape. So yes, I dug through my trash. Just going to take that in place. And again, cover that. And press that again. The one thing with pressing more than once, we'll see if it lightens the color up. And also could have done it if I had my my mini press out and just did that part real fast. Okie dokie, so that's on there. So the one thing you can see is, since that is around it, is that you can, there are the press marks. So for one, I'm just going to go around and kind of press the entire thing. So I'm going to find the middle of this. So I'm just going to cut it right here. And I don't know if that's when I cut it the first time or after I washed it, that was more apparent. Okay, so I have 5 different types of ribbon that I cut into 4-inch strips. So I just went through all my ribbons. They don't have to match. Probably want kind of bright colors. So I did, so I'm going to have 5 on each side, so I need 20. So I did 4 strips of each ribbon. Okay, so this was at the 14 was the middle. So I'm going to fold these because these are going to stick out when we sew these things together. They will be sticking out like this. So I'm putting them with the wrong sides together. And I'm going to pin this right in the middle. As close to the middle as you can get to the edge there. Okay, and then I'm just gonna kind of lay them how I'm gonna kind of just space them apart. It doesn't need to be exact. Okay, again, so I'm gonna fold that. Okay, so I'm going to go around and just pin them down all the way around. Okay, so now I have all of the ribbons pinned on, and I'm going to go to my sewing machine and just do a 1/4 seam allowance just all the way around the whole square, just to secure the ribbons on. Okay, so I'm just going to start in one corner, and you could, if you wanted, just stitch this one, do a couple back stitches, you know, cut your thread and then each of them, but I just found it easier just to go the whole time. And this, if you're using a similar type of fabric, it does kind of roll on itself a little bit, so you just want to make sure it's nice and flat the whole time you're going through there. And I know I'm bad, I don't take my pins out. I'm just going to make a couple back stitches and okay, so after the last one, I'm going to do a couple back stitches and cut this one. And then just do the next side. Okay, so now I have it all stitched, so I'm just going to take all of my pins out. So now I'm going to put on the other side, so these are going to be right sides together. And I'm going to pin this on. And then you want to leave about a 3-inch gap so we can turn it inside out. So I'm going to start you do want to kind of be careful at the corners, and if you can, pin it so these are not close to here. On my last one, I actually sewed those to the edges of a couple of them. So I want to try to not do that. Okay, so I'm going to make my kind of 3 inches apart down here. So I'm just going to mark it, just put to about 3 inches apart, so I know that's where I want to flip it back around. Okay, so some of them do get a little bunched, so I'm just going to flip it over and pin it. On this side. And you'll see I have quite a bit over here, so I'm just going to cut this off. Okay, so now I'm going to go and sure I know where my 3-inch one is. And if you have a clip, I'm going to put these here just so I know. That's where I want to start and stop. Okay, and then so I'm just going to do a 1/2 inch seam allowance around the whole thing and just back stitching right between there, and then we're going to flip this inside out. Okay, so I'm starting right at this one here. And again, we are going to do a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go a couple and make sure I backstitch here to secure it. And then at the corner, just going to raise it up and flip it. And again, just holding it. Okay, so now I'm back at the edge I started. So I'm just going to go up to there and back stitch this one a couple. Okay, now we're going to flip it inside out. Okay, let's pull these pins out. Okay, so now we're going to trim the corners just so they lay nice and flat, just make sure you don't cut your thread there. That just helps them lie flat. So here is our opening here. So now this is going to start pushing it through my fingers. I know there are things that help you push things through if you have one of those. Push a ruler in to get these corners a little pushed out. Just be careful, don't push it through. Just gently can kind of push on that a little bit. And I don't think I sewed any down this time. Okay, so almost done. So now I'm going to press this, and this spot right here where the 3-inch is, we are going to sew that down. So the last step is we're going to do a 1/4 inch stitch all the way through here, and that's going to close this spot. So I just have my mini out here, so I'm just going to press it around these edges. Oops. No. Okay, and then I'm just gonna pin this part. Okay, so last time back at the sewing machine to do the 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, so I'm just going to start at a 1/4, just start at one corner, and again doing a 1/4 inch here. And I'm going to back stitch, secure it, and sometimes on the corners it gets a little bit harder to go through it, so I got to push it a little bit extra. Coming upon part that we are closing. And I'm just going to reinforce that because I've gotten to that edge. So now that, oops, did miss a little section. So I'm going to go back and do a slight closer stitch right there. Didn't realize that my hole went that far over. So 2 stitches there. Nice thing about this fabric is it's really hard to actually see the stitching in it. So if you're not a super straight sewer like I am, I'm not a super straight sewer. So these actually work well. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull out those 3, trim a few threads I have. Okay, and there you go. A nice personalized tag blanket, lovey. Give as a gift or your own child. And with the nice infusible ink that won't fade off or peel off, especially if you are wash these and they last. My 10-year-old still has his, so he doesn't carry it around like he used to all the time, but it has been through a lot of washing, so this will not go out. So there you go. I hope that helped, gave you some more ideas on how you can add some infusible ink to a baby blanket.